Welcome to our latest Parks and Lions Q&A. We're very excited to have our friend and partner, Kelly Offner of Keep Philadelphia Beautiful. We're going to be chatting with her, and she's going to tell us about all the work that they're doing to help create a cleaner and healthier city. And in the meantime, we'll want to just catch up a little bit. And it's been a while since we've seen you here. So what have we been up to? What were you doing this morning, Lula?
Oh, man. We were at Pump Track, Philadelphia Pump Track, and we were cleaning and weeding and landscaping. I'm thinking about opening my own business after that experience.
Yeah, we got some good landscaping experience. I got a chance to use a machete, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I wasn't brave enough to pick that up. I left that for you and Jack to do that, but it was super fun. So we have been doing a lot of volunteer beautification with local rec centers. We're partnering with the rec leaders, which has been super exciting. We actually do have one coming up Friday at Wright Recreation Center. We can put the link in the
Actually, the easiest way to find all of our cleanups is to go to Twitter or Instagram, and you'll see the links down there below. And then if you go to Twitter or Instagram, there's a little link tree, that link in bio. So if you click on that link from either of those, it'll take you directly to our little link tree link where you'll have links to fun stuff like this broadcast here, but then also you'll see a link to all of our upcoming events where you can sign up. We use the Give Pulse platform, so you can go there and then you can sign up for Wright Rec Center, which is coming up in West Philadelphia, and then we've got some other ones coming up, Penrose, which is in North Philly near Temple. So you'll be able to see all of those and have a chance to sign up. So that's going to be it's pretty exciting. We brought a lot of volunteers in, and we've got in just a minute we'll bring in our muse who gave us the guidance and the tools, literally the tools, and also the more metaphorical tools to do a great job in these. So tell us some more about what we've been doing with these cleanups, Lula.
So we have been partnering with Kelly also, which will be coming up to. But we did our first cleanup was September 11th, I believe, at Amos Playground. And our goal is to partner with some of the recreation centers that we have been working with for the past couple of months, providing grants. Another way to provide support, we thought it would be a great idea to partner with them and do a playground recreation outdoors cleanup. Everything is outside. So that has been pretty exciting because one, we're in the community, two, we get to work with the rec leaders, and the most exciting part has been seeing community members come out and actually just clean up for from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and to see the before and after of picking trash and organizing. It's been just incredible experience.
And we'll be showing you some of that before and after from the Philly Pump Track this afternoon. Some of the fruits of our weeding, and we did find some fruits there, some very intriguing little berries, but we couldn't find out what they were. We did not eat them.
And spiders.
I didn't see any spiders. I was very disappointed.
Yeah, we found a couple of spiders. So we plan on doing this until the weather completely stops us. So we'll keep you posted. We will post it on our social media, all our social media platforms. So, or if you haven't signed up for our email list, please sign up. We'll go to our website, which you will see in the banner, just kind of scrolling through, and we'll be updated about our upcoming events.
Sounds good. So anything else we want for folks to know before we bring Kelly on?
What else do we have coming up? Let's get back to me. I was
well, let's bring on Kelly now.
Yay, Kelly.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
I am pretty good. I have just received news earlier today that my brother's wife is in labor, which is exciting. I'm going to be an aunt. So I am, coming at you live from my home office in the corner of my room. And excited to be here with you both.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. And what a blessing that is. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And we have worked together, like I mentioned earlier. We partner in different projects, but this is our first time having Kelly on our platform. Get to know her and the work that she has been doing for our city. So we thought we'll ask a couple of questions about her background, some of the awesome work Keep Philadelphia Beautiful is currently implementing and has implemented previously as well. And then we'll also learn about just upcoming opportunities, if there are any, and all the good stuff that we get to chat. So if you just joined us, feel free to say hi in the comment section and let us know where you are watching from. This is recorded, so if you just came in and you missed the first couple of minutes of Steve and I just chit-chatting, this will be living on our YouTube page, Facebook, and you can rewatch it and reshare it.
And please do give us a follow on YouTube. We're just six subscribers away from 100, and 100 will allow us to change our YouTube address, which will allow something that we can actually remember, as opposed to just saying just search for us on YouTube. And but if you search for Philadelphia Clients, you will find us. You will find us.
Very
when
exciting.
we first started our streaming, we had how many followers? 4, 5?
We had 3, I think. 3. So we're up to 93 followers, subscribers over the time, and we're just a few more away. But yeah, it's been doing great. We started off doing back on March 30th. We started doing our Hearts Alliance read-alongs, and we got wonderful local authors, and also having other local partners reading their favorite children's books as well. So that was a great way that allowed us to really connect. But then we saw that so many other groups were doing really great job with the read-alongs, like children's book reading. So we decided we need to focus on some other areas. But we're really finding these chats with our partners here are really essential to let people know what everyone's up to.
Yes, but today it's all about you, Kelly, and keep you beautiful. Again, thank you for joining us. So how about we get started by you just telling us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, sure. So I grew up just outside of the city in a town called Lansdale, just about 20-ish miles northwest of Philly. I'm currently hailing from Northern Liberties. So that's my neighborhood right now. I've lived in Fishtown, like South Philly, in Lowe. So kind of all over the place. And I was a Temple University grad. So before that, I lived, all over Temple's campus pretty much. I was actually a broadcast journalism major at Temple, which, I spent some time right after I got done school working in the newsroom at KYW. I was a desk assistant, which meant, which was an awesome experience. It was, exciting to kind of see this historic, at least to me, historic radio channel that I'd grown up listening to, Traffic on the Twos, see behind the scenes. So I worked there for about 6 months, and then picked up another job. Fast forward a year after that, and I was connected with some folks at a company called United by Blue. They're a Philadelphia-based outdoor apparel brand, and they have a focus on waterway cleanup. So a one-for-one mission, similar to Tom's. If you buy one of their products, they pledge to remove a pound of trash from oceans and waterways. So they do that through company-organized cleanups. So I was, head trash collector at one point, basically, organized hundreds of cleanups in the Philadelphia area and also across the U.S. Dabbled planning a cleanup in the Netherlands. So that was very special, not only because the volunteers and I spoke not even close to the same language, but they have much different waste and recycling laws and just kind of practices there. So that was really interesting. But, our cleanups in Philly, they were in my heart, and they were often at the same sites year after year. And I needed to understand. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. And so this position at Keep Philadelphia Beautiful popped up. They had been a partner of ours at United by Blue for Philadelphia cleanups. And so it felt like a really natural fit. So that's kind of how I ended up in this seat today.
Wow, what a journey it has been. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Keep Philadelphia Beautiful.
Sure.
About tell us about Keep Philadelphia Beautiful.
Okay, so we are a local affiliate of Keep America Beautiful, and actually there's also a statewide affiliation, Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful. So we are a small but mighty member of a very large family of over 600 affiliates, and we are basically hoping to empower and educate and provide resources folks to use community beautification to create a vibrant neighborhood. That could be everything from understanding how to better access city resources and be an advocate for your neighborhood or your block, to how to run a cleanup, which I know we'll get to in a little bit, to, why is there litter there in the first place and what can we be doing as consumers, that kind of education, and also really starting in the classroom. So we have, that outreach and education starts at a very young age with, first and second graders going into the classrooms. So we do a few different types of programs and activities to achieve our mission. And one of them is how we first got involved. So we provide community micro grants, which is basically like seed funding for projects that tackle litter in neighborhoods. So we've done everything from like trying to get, less cigarette butt litter throughout the city to, this great, the Lowe's grant that we worked on together, which was putting, Lowe's tools in the hands of Parks Heroes.
What I absolutely loved, I had the opportunity to just kind of roam through your website and like the programs that you provide, from grants to the environmental education to the cleanup aspect of it. It just touches up on not only just an opportunity to clean up, but well educated in the resources that you need to take care of your community in a way that is sustainable. And I think that's very important, and you guys do such a great job of doing that.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's just, a lot of times when we're organizing community cleanups, it's usually a lot of passionate community members who come out and say, like, let's clean our block or our community. But being able to provide grants to purchase tools or whatever that they would need, but also have a resource hub to go to and say, like, volunteer management, what does that look like? So that's pretty cool.
Thanks. And just to note too, a really big partner of ours in the past couple of years was the Zero Waste and Litter Cabinet, which was like a mayoral initiative. And so, a lot of the education and the data that we use to kind of inform where our program needs to go came as a result of that cabinet's work. So like, where is there the most litter in the city, which we talked about at the Amos cleanup, right? Like,
give us like
our litter index. Yes. Having that data kind of shows us where we need to start and where resources are most in need. And then also that there's a lot of gap in communication amongst, departments, neighbors, CDCs, friends groups. And so how do we get folks talking to one another? And so, it's a lighter lift. So yeah, it's that they have been a great partner of ours, as have a few other city agencies. But yeah, the cleanup that we did at Amos was fun to poke around. I haven't looked at the litter index page in a while. If you go to cleanphl, I think it's .org, you can actually look up your address and see what your index score was for last year.
That was a very interesting fact that we learned that day. I didn't know about that at all. Can I just ask one more question? Because you brought up about the litter in general, and with COVID happening and the world just shutting down, cleanups haven't, at least until maybe a month ago or so, haven't been happening as often as possible. But also that didn't stop the litter from piling up. And how have you seen that within the work that you do affect like our city?
Yeah. So kudos to everyone that has gone out to do solo cleanup so far. There's so many great organizations throughout the city that were able to get together cleanup kits and just kind of spread the word that these kits were available to neighbors. And I think our partners at Keep PA Beautiful had a great, idea. It's that like if you sweep the porch and this, steps and the sidewalk in front of your own home, and everybody does that, you have a clean block every week, every day. And there's a lot of pride, and I think like community that's needed so much right now that comes from that act of taking care of where you live. So all that said, everybody being at home shifted where a lot of the waste has been. So traditionally, your lunch, dinner, you had a lot of trash that was going towards, your office or your school. And that all suddenly at home. So I know the streets department had put out a number, it was like up 25% almost, that they were seeing that much volume increase. And so they're dealing not only with that volume increase, but also a pandemic. And so you have folks that, are getting sick, and it brings the, crew capacity down. And what does that mean? It means trash on the street more. And you take one or two good windstorms and all of that trash ends up, down the street. And so it's kind of like an unfortunate series of events. And I think folks finally, maybe because they were home more, we're starting to see like, hey, this is how we put out our trash has a lot to do with this. How quickly our services are delivered has a lot to do with how much trash, but also how single-use items like protective wear are really the biggest issue that we're kind of facing. We talk about this all the time in the classroom, and we try to at cleanups. Like, think about what items you're picking up that are intended to use once and throw away. Our protective face covering masks, latex gloves, a water bottle, plastic water bottle. I mean, these are things that maybe before could have been recycled or cleaned off and reused, but now, we're not so sure with COVID. So it's impacted people's willingness, I think, to like reuse items and businesses' ability to say like, hey, bring a reusable container in and we'll fill it up. So there's just more trash being created. And I think the other thing is we're all kind of siloed in our homes too. And so that has a big impact on just the vibrancy of a neighborhood. So we had been at kind of a standstill. We're trying to absorb all the information we can about how safe is it for people to go out, how many people can actually get together to clean up, how do we ensure those folks are protected, and also having like an enjoyable experience when they're at the cleanup. Yeah. And I think we're just starting to wrap our heads around that. Now that we've seen, at least a few cleanups in person with partners like yourself. So yeah, I mean, we're not out of the woods yet with COVID. It's obviously been devastating to, people's lives and to the economy. And I can only hope that something that we take away from this is that we need to lean on each other and, not only have a lot of personal responsibility and accountability for what we're throwing out and what we're using, but also holding, the folks that are producing those items and the folks that are helping to like deliver those services to take those items from our front yard to the dump, holding everybody accountable and with compassion. So that was a mouthful.
Right, that's excellent. Well, one of the things you spoke about, and in fact you were speaking about at this moment right here at Amos Rec Center, was how to clean up responsibly and safely. Now that could be as part of a group, or it's an individual on your block, or in a park. So what are some of the things that people should be aware of? And then like you see thanks for those lovely trash grabbers in the back that you provided for us cleanups. They're very helpful.
Oh man. Yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks, Steve. So those trash grabbers are like, you talked about your favorite tools at the clean away of you did yesterday. I love a good trash grabber for many reasons. I think now more than ever, those trash grabbers are great because you don't have to make personal contact with the trash that you're picking up. So I think above all, like, you need a barrier between yourself and anything that you're touching, and that barrier needs to, unfortunately, probably be thrown away and thrown away properly. So it's taking off the gloves and not touching your hands with the exterior of the gloves as you're taking them off. If you're using like reusable gloves, sure, you can clean them, but it's about making sure that anything that you bring back from that cleanup is wiped down and sanitized. So if you're out alone, I mean, it's pretty simple, and I think pretty intuitive to stay protected. You're not within 6 feet of anybody else. You already have your mask on, hopefully. And you got your gloves on, you've got your trash picker. I personally used to bring 2 different bags with me. I'd bring one for trash and one for recycling. You can still do that because the sorting after you put the items in the trash bag back at your house, I wouldn't advise it anymore, which is, it is what it is for right now. And anything that you're putting in your bag, one of the things that we saw a lot of that cleanup at Amos was glass. And that's not a COVID thing. I mean, that's an everywhere in a city thing. That is something that right now I wouldn't advise picking up because you're putting at risk your bag, the integrity of your bag, and then you having to pick all the trash up again. So, to try to keep sharp items out of the bag. And then in terms of recycling, I mean, everything that goes in that recycling bag has to be clean, dry, or empty. So it can't be full water bottles. It can't be, a aluminum tin full of like leftover food. Things should be mostly, to their best ability, like empty, clean, or dry. If you're at a cleanup with other people, like we had at Amos, advisable to come with a buddy. I love having somebody that can be holding the bag, or you guys can like tag team one area together. But if you don't, I'm recommending folks, work alone, but as part of the team. And that's also just so that folks can work within their comfort level and don't have to be asked to partner up with someone if they're not comfortable. We had a lot of really great extra materials there, including the brooms, just for gathering stuff in bulk. But I think what we're seeing at parks, especially right now, and you guys can attest to this, is like so like record high usage, right?
Right.
And things at parks that, you typically are coming into are like food wrappers, that maybe even charcoal, bottles. Yeah. What else are you guys seeing there?
Bottle caps, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Homing Park, we found a number of pizza boxes.
Pizza boxes. Spending. Yeah. Well, that was my whole question about parks and how you have been able to support the Philly parks because of the pandemic, including myself. I definitely utilize my local park more than I ever did before. And I am noticing a lot more trash and litter. And even though we have a lot of trash cans around, people just tend to come enjoy the park and leave things like under the bench or next to the grass or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, the habits of unintentional littering. It's like, I'll put this here and bring it with me, and then you walk away and you forget that it's there. There's, in terms of our work with parks, I mean, before we were working together, we were a partner of many different organizations. So United by Blue was one of them, the Fairmount Park Conservancy, Parks and Recreation, TTF, Wissahickon. We've done cleanups or partnered with cleanups in a lot of those, like, kind of like, I feel like big parks you would think about, FDR, and also smaller community parks. So litter was kind of always it was the entry point for most of our work with parks. This past 2 summers, we actually were working with some rec centers to bring recycling education, bits of our in-classroom education program in Philadelphia public schools to an after-school, like, adapted program that was more filled with relays, things games. Because kids have already been at school all day. They don't want to be sitting and learning anymore in a traditional sense. So we were able to bring a lot of our recycling education outreach to rec centers. And then this opportunity with the Lowe's grant came through Keep America Beautiful. So the intention behind that grant was, it was pretty broad, but it was to engage, Lowe's with a cause that's dear in your city. And I can't tell you how much money was given out throughout the entire US, but it was a substantial number of large cities that took part, which is really cool. So do you want me to share about the heroes, or do you guys want to share?
Yeah, that was great. We were going to, for the folks who aren't aware, we were on March 19th, we were all going to meet at Lowe's in South Philadelphia with the 10 finalist rec centers. And of course, we wisely canceled. It was a time when some things were still happening, things were being canceled, and we wisely and safely canceled it. But we got a chance to do it just a little month or so ago, and see if you recognize these matched people here. So we met, and most of the rec centers that were able to, of our finalists, were able to send some folks there, and we were able to have some nice chance to meet them in person again, and or for the first time, depending on the people. And both we had both Parks and Rec staff, as well as Rec Advisory Council volunteers, and a lot of just really dedicated people, both staff and volunteers, who keep those going. And it was so exciting to be able to have you there too as well, Kelly. And that was a good day. It
was awesome. And the road to get there for the folks that ended up getting these grants was not not short and not necessarily like an easy walk. We had a lot of requirements, and we were asking to see a lot of thought and intention and collaboration in their proposals. And I feel like they all delivered really solid ones. And their projects had to be kind of amended because of COVID, but this is something that, we would hope to do, next year and take the lessons that we've learned from this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think we're in agreement that, parks is, parks and rec centers, but especially like the friends groups and the rec advisory councils, those folks that are, technically volunteers or have like a group of volunteers that are doing the bidding for the park. I mean, they're so valuable and they need that recognition and they need that support. So, and you guys you provide that to them. So thank you for that.
You're doing such a great way with the segue of the questions that we have. Speaking of volunteers. Yeah, speaking of volunteers.
I'm like you're Kathy Lee. I don't know, or whatever. We have like a blue setup
exactly.
on.
Yeah, seriously, you have been doing a great job of like segueing into the next question that we had. And we talked about so many different opportunities and like ourselves, like Philadelphia Parks Alliance, we just started doing more in-person volunteer cleanups starting in September, and we plan on continuing to do until the end of November. And I think more and more volunteers are interested in just being out and just, giving back to the community, especially being locked in your house for as long as we have been. Are there any opportunities that Keep Philadelphia Beautiful has that can be useful for anyone that's interested in?
So I would definitely echo and say that, any cleanups that you guys are having with those rec centers that we're working with on the Lowe's Tools for Heroes, that is where we're trying to direct folks that are looking for like park-based opportunities. We also just got a shipment from Keep PA Beautiful of some trash grabbers and like much smaller ones than what we have. Those are like the Cadillac trash grabbers.
Wow.
Trash, but these are great for like, going around your block and picking up stuff. And so, we're looking for volunteers, one, to just kind of help get those supplies together. And then we're going to, figure out a way to get these in the hands of folks that want to do solo cleanups. So the other thing that we're going to be starting to do is kind of adapting our classroom-based program for the virtual world. All of our classroom learning used to be administered from volunteers. So they would go in, be trained on how to give the presentation, and then sign up for, a handful of schools every year. So we're going to be reaching back out to those volunteers and asking folks that have any interest in that kind of education, that would be interested in popping into someone's Zoom classroom once a week to reach out to us as well. So info@keepphiladelphiabeautiful.org is the best place to reach out. And then we have a volunteer opportunities page, but it needs to be updated since COVID with some of this. Because I think like many organizations, we were kind of on freeze. We weren't sure what we were going to be able to do, and now the future looks a little bit more clear. So thanks for asking about that.
Yeah, I'm just excited to go back outside again and just even socialize from a distance and just being able to clean up our local recreation centers and parks. So that's really exciting. We learned so much about you today, and from volunteer opportunities to the programs that you provide, from the grants to the education aspect of it, and then the litter index, which was super like mind blown to me when you were emo. So I appreciate that. If people want to learn more about just Philly and cleanups in general, and just even learning about the litter index, where can people go? Like if I am someone who's interested in like taking ownership of my block to get started, where do I start?
So that's a really good question. So if you go to keepphiladelphiabeautiful.org, we have a resources page that has a link to many different city services, city programs, including the Block Captain program, which is a great resource, especially now, and we have some resources that we've offered to Block Captains, including a community cleanup guide, like planning guide, and that has even more information. A lot of this stuff is in transition because of COVID in terms of like where you can get supplies, etc. And anything that has to do with litter index, if you're interested in like the how and the why litter is in the city in the first place, Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful did a survey. Philadelphia was included in that last year. That is basically like a litter cost study. So I believe cleanphl.org, which was the Zero Waste Litter Cabinet's website, is still up and running. I'll confirm that for you both. And then if it's a different website, I'll send it to you. But that's a great place to dig around for that litter index. And also there's some cool behavioral studies they did to see like how can we change behavior around littering with X, Y, or Z solutions?
Right. And if you want to send those over, I can put those out on our Twitter account as well, so people can check in on that, and then we'll have those later on this week. That'd be great.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay. And we have shared Kelly's information in our scroll bar, but we can put it in the chat as well. If you just joined us not too long ago, this is recorded. Don't worry, you can rewatch it and share it once it ends. And Kelly, Steve, do you have any questions?
That seems to have covered all the things that we could obviously go on forever here, but I think that gives, we want to give people, we'll have you back some point, and we'll probably talk about some more specific issues as well. But I think this time it really gives us a general sense of the work you do and how people can be responsible cleanup citizens. And then thanks again for all you did help again giving us the physical and virtual tools to be able to do these cleanups. And you can go, as I mentioned, you can go onto our social media, onto either our Twitter or our Instagram, and there when you see in the bio, there's that one link in the bio. You click on that and you'll end up here, or you can just go to this link, and then at the top of that will be a link to our Give Pulse page, or Give Pulse events page, where you can see the upcoming cleanups like the one at Wright Rec Center, Penrose Rec Center, and other ones coming up there, and you'll see, which gives you a nice sense of what's happening and also how you can participate. So for all these cleanups, we provide the tool. We have the trash grabbers that you provided, and we also have gloves as well, and we do have some masks on hand. We require a mask, but obviously if you forgot one for some reason, don't turn around, we'll give you one. And we also get coffee and donuts and bananas. And
I was going to say the donuts are part of the supply list.
we feed you and keep you caffeinated and hydrated as well too. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a fun time. And Kelly, we truly appreciate you giving us the tools that we needed to get started our cleanups with our local parks and recreations, and which has been super helpful.
Me too.
You don't understand how much you need a trash grabber until you have one.
There's a wet rag that you're not sure what that wet rag is, and you're like, I'm trash grabber.
That's exactly.
Well, that was the hunting park. It had just rained the day before, and it rained. Actually rained that day and rained later. And those trash grabbers were essential because there was a lot of soggy trash we were picking up, and that was really nice.
Man. And they encourage, I think, more volunteers to come out because it's like a little bit less labor than bending down and picking up trash.
But then you give you a workout too after you've trash grabbing for a whole day too. So you go like those little office squeezy things that you keep your from getting carpal tunnel.
Oh yeah. So yes. Oh wait, one of the things I wanted to say while we're on that note before we wrap, is we talked briefly about the cleanup games that we had played at United by Blue at the cleanup at Amos, but that's also just a way to keep it interesting if you're doing a cleanup alone or cleanup with other people in the future. We would always do this kind of treasure hunt to see who could find the weirdest piece of trash or just an interesting piece of trash. Trash tells a story, and sometimes the story is more interesting than just like no offense to Dunkin' Donuts, but a styrofoam like Dunkin' Donuts. We found some really cool stuff. So that's a little sub feed. If folks want to be sharing photos of weird trash they found, bizarre stuff, I would love to see it.
We'll also create a hashtag for that too. Weird Trash Philly.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be
Philadelphia trash weird.
No photos of people. Don't.
We'll work on the hashtag. Just give us a little time. But I think that'll be a fun exercise to do this upcoming Friday, because I definitely have found some interesting things. I'm like, how did it get here?
Well, actually, I can share a picture of the weirdest thing that we found, which was actually living at Amos, which was
what was it?
A praying mantis eating a spotted lanternfly.
That is pretty cool.
So it was doing its share of cleaning up. The praying mantis was obviously doing a nice job. In fact, it was looking directly to the camera there, so obviously it was ready for its photo op.
Our knight in shining armor. Kill all of those bugs, please.
That was a great photo. That was a great photo. Kelly, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us and educating us about how to take ownership of our own community and block, and also providing the tools and the grants. And we just appreciate the partnership that you're able to continue with us. And we would love to bring you back, because I'm sure we're going to have other partnership opportunities, but also volunteer opportunities that we'll be working together moving forward. And if you have any questions for Kelly, we can put our information down there. We can share the website and where they can find you, but we can also put it in the comment section as well.
Perfect.
And if you joined us, don't worry, this is recorded. You can rewatch it whenever you get a chance. And maybe give it a day or two, and Kelly, you can come back and check out the comment section just to see if there are any comments for you.
Okay, that sounds good. And thank you both for what all you're doing and Park Science is doing right now for parks. I really appreciate it and appreciate your partnership. And this was a great time.
Yeah.
Happy to come back anytime.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Right.
See you next time.
Yeah. Enjoy the day.